So I've done a lot of things. I have many things I'm still testing out on the channel and videos to come out. But one of the thoughts I've been having, one of the things that has been driving me insane is this idea of like, if you practice one move 1,000 times, you're gonna do a lot better than the guy that practices 1,000 moves once. And I'm thinking about it, I'm reading books, and I'm like, am I just like reading 1,000 books one time each instead of like just reading one book 1,000 times and actually like implementing it fully into my life where I'd get more value out of it? And this thought's been driving me insane so long that I'm now implementing an experiment where I'm gonna read one book. Hopefully, I'm not 100% sure, but hopefully it takes about 2 weeks. I'm going to spend 2 weeks rereading a book, implementing all of the things that book talks about, all those little activities the book tells you to do that like no one actually does, or at least I don't really do that often. But I'm actually going to implement all of those things, document that on the channel, and kind of see where it takes me, and then try to keep those habits, or at least integrate the habits I think are worth keeping into my life while I then move on to other books later down. Oh, this thing's vibrating here. Well, just keep the good habits there, because I'm looking at my Audible and I like listening to audiobooks sometimes. I like sitting quiet sometimes when I'm driving, but I'm going through my titles. I have Wim Hof, Tribal Leadership, The Iliad, Perfectionist, Dream Big, Selling You, The Odyssey, Autobiography of Andrew Carnegie, Random Remnants of Men and Events by John D. Rockefeller, My Life and Work by Henry Ford, Buy Back Your Time, How to Train Your Mind, Way of the Fight, Buy Then Build, Green Lights, 50th Law, Winning Through Intimidation, The Bible, Prometheus Rising, Built to Last, Friedrich Nietzsche's collection, How to Own Your Mind, The 10X Rule, Outwitting the Devil, Blue Ocean Strategy, Principles for Dealing with Change, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, 48 Laws of Power, The War of Art, $100 Million Leads, Fountainhead, Anthem, Atlas Shrugged, The Richest Man in Babylon, $100 Million Offers, The One Thing, 0 to 1, Never Finished, Evolve Your Brain, You Are the Placebo, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, 8 Rules for Love, The Greatest Salesman in the World, The 4-Hour Workweek, Ultramind Solutions, Scattered, Stranger in a Strange Land, Extreme Ownership, Think and Grow Rich, Selling Your Ideas Without a Patent, In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, Meditation Can't Hurt Me, As a Man Thinketh, Levels of Energy, Easy Way to Quit Smoking, The Alignment Problem, Code to the Extraordinary Mind, Empires of Deception, which I actually don't think is my book, but Guns, Germs, and Steels. I don't like that book. I had to do I did a class for anthropology in college, and Jared Diamond doesn't cite any of his crap, and it just really annoyed me coming from engineering where everything's cited. So he cited like something about the teeth patterns of some like bones found in a cave, and he's like, that proves this, this, and this, yet I had a different interpretation of what they proved. But my teacher wouldn't allow me to like write that interpretation because she said Jared Diamond is a respected anthropologist and you can't go against what he says. Like he's some type of god figure. It just pissed me off. And now I don't like his books because I had a disagreeing idea with him on some topic, and I don't know where the paper is now, but basically disagree with him. I thought the evidence could be interpreted slightly differently. Again, I'm just taking a class in it, but the fact that I couldn't find any of his citations to actually like look at pissed me off. The Alignment Problem, C.S. Lewis, The Way of the Superior Man, The Game. Yeah. I have a crap ton of books in my Audible library, and the thing I am looking at is like, I've read a lot of those, but how much of 4-Hour Workweek have I actually implemented in my life? I mean, some things I've taken. Like, is a book meant just to like read it, take what you think you should take, or should you implement the whole thing? Because I'm looking at these books and I'm not I'm not implementing them fully. I'm not like doing all the assignments they tell you to do, and then I'll come back to like a piece of information that another book mentions, and I'll be like, oh, they talked about that in this book, and I'm like, well, why didn't I implement it then? Like, it's just like reminding yourself of the same, like having the same insights over and over and over again is something that I hate, because it means you didn't implement the thing that you had the insight for. So I'm starting off with the Wim Hof method, and I'm currently doing a video that I'm going to release soon about his breathing technique. And I did a whole year of cold plunges, but Wim Hof method, I'm going through the book, looking at it, and I'm going to make videos talking about implementing his book and what the book has to offer and what I think about it. And then from there, I'm going to move on probably to Buy Back Your Time and implement some stuff from that book. But like, it's just annoying me when I read information in another book and I'm like, well, that this book said it, but I don't know. It's because it's like, by reading multiple books and seeing what they have in common and what themes transcend through them, you open yourself up to like seeing where the actual valuable stuff that you should take is. Yet at the same time, who am I necessarily to like decide what is good or bad for myself without trying it? And it just seems kind of stupid to be like, well, I don't think that would necessarily work while I take other things that they advise me. And yeah, there's some degree of intuition here, but I also feel like I should implement the books fully. So that's what I'm going to be doing, is literally implementing a single book fully, making videos about that, moving on to the next book. And then at the same time, I am going to be, at least for this first book, I'm going to be also reading, it's not My Life and Work, it's some book by Henry Ford. I have it by my bed, but the idea is like, of those books I have, some of them just talk about life and about different ways people thought to see the world, while others talked about like, they're more guidebooks for how to do certain things within your life. And I'm wondering if it's necessarily bad to read one guidebook and one other book at the same time, because I do like reading right before bed, and I find it's absolutely amazing for getting a good night's sleep. Just reading half an hour before bedtime, like no blue light or anything, actual physical book. You can get them for dirt cheap off eBay. But I'm wondering if it's bad. I'm wondering if it's like something where you go all in depth and you kind of immerse yourself into it, and then you get super into one book and that's all you think about for like 2 weeks, and you would come up with more insights. Oh, that could be it. I mean, I'm going to try the 2-book system for right now, just because I'm halfway done with both of the books. So I don't necessarily want to end one book for 2 weeks and then find myself like not knowing where I left off and having to restart the other book. Yeah. But anyways, I just want to do an update, talk about that, talk about what a new thing I'm going to be experimenting with, because I think there's a lot of knowledge being left on the table, and I've mentioned this in other videos, but it's like, you watch videos, you read books for the dopamine hit that you get when you have an insight, and you kind of become like this insight junkie where you skip from one insight to another insight while never implementing them. And then it seems like I've been doing that. Like, I have implemented things. I do breathe, I do meditate, I do all this stuff. I made my channel to remind me of the insights I've had, and I look back on it and make sure I'm being genuine and like keeping up with the things I said I should keep up with. But at points in time, I've definitely hoarded insights, hoarded information, and kind of like just tried to get all these insights without implementing almost any of them, because you get this dopamine rush, you get this like hit of euphoria when you realize something. You're like, oh my god, this could like change my life, this could be really amazing, it could improve my habits, it could like give me more self-control. And then you never implement it, and then you like come back a year later and you have the same insight, and then after you do this long enough, you realize, I've had this insight a couple of times, and then you stop kind of like getting the dopamine rush, and it turns into this feeling of like, why haven't you implemented it then? And then you're like, crap, I should have, like, what's going on? Anyways, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I never swung so far to the extreme of collecting knowledge, even though there was about a 3-week period of time where I was like, I had a bunch of YouTube videos, a bunch of shorts, a bunch of clips, a bunch of things in podcasts, like just random pieces of life advice. And I was going through them and compiling them into a book of like top 1,000 bits of life. Like, I don't know, what is it going to be? There's going to be some like coffee table book type thing where I just go over a bunch of different advice given from different channels. And then I had the idea of like, well, I haven't implemented all this advice. How would I know if it's necessarily good? And then I've like came across George Mack, and he's talked about, well, actually I came across him later, but anyways, George Mack talks about how there's like the David Goggins approach to solving something, and then there's like the, for lack of a better word, the Joe Rogan approach of solving something, where Rogan's like stoned having fun interviewing people, and Goggins is like killing his body and blowing out his knees because that's how he likes to do stuff. And the there are different things that work for the different strategies, and without realizing that, without living out these actions, you don't really understand how to give the advice, even if you're giving the best advice that you can give. So I kind of like axed that idea. But anyways, this video's gone on long enough. I'm just absolutely loving that view over there. But peace out.